Greetings, citizens! Justiguy has arrived. While I'm a more recent Shadowverse player compared to most of you, like many, when it comes to the game's Swordcraft class, it really does feel like it's just lacking that certain something, you know? That oomph that gives it an identity that stands out against the others. Well, if you ask me, the way to fix Swordcraft isn't so much to do anything differently as much as it is to just streamline what it's already got, because from there, the world becomes your oyster. Or in the case of Swordcraft, perhaps Battlefield is more appropriate. What do I mean? Rather than focusing more on certain types of cards, like Enhance for example, my suggestion is this. Shadowverse could introduce some new keywords for Swordcraft to go along with commanders and officers. It could work with the thing that already makes it unique and make it even more so. Yeah, those two things are already Swordcraft exclusive keywords, but as the saying goes, can we go deeper? Let's find out. So the first keyword I would add would be leadership, or something to that effect. Now this keyword would be exclusive to Swordcraft's commander followers. So what does it do? What does it mean? Essentially, it just boils down to this. If an allied officer follower is in play, do the following effect. Simple, right? And you might be thinking, well hold on, Justiguy. That's just cutting back on the text that the game already has. How does this fix anything? Well, citizen, I'll be happy to tell you once I tell you the other keywords I'd like to implement. Because obviously, if you've got leadership, you've got to have a keyword doing the opposite, right? That's where loyalty would come in. That would be an officer-exclusive keyword that, like leadership, essentially just translate to, if an allied commander officer is in play, do the following. Again, we already have cards that do this, just with the text all written out, so it's not like this would be that groundbreaking, right? With that, let's add in a third and final keyword I want to add to Swordcraft. Camaraderie. And you could probably figure out what this one does. It's the same as leadership and loyalty, but for officers and commanders. It works with cards that have the same trait as the card in question. So an officer with camaraderie will have its effect triggered if another officer is in play, and similarly, a commander with camaraderie will only have its effect triggered when you've got a commander out as well. And with that, you've got our keywords. But what do they actually do for us? Well, obviously that's where the fun starts. Now that we've cut out all the extra if blah 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 is in play text from cards and turn those things into proper mechanics, we can then expand on those mechanics. So first off, let's give these mechanics different ways to actually be applied once they're written out on the cards. For example, we can stick these keywords onto fanfare, making them quick and streamlined versions of the older fanfare. If an allied follower is in play, blah 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 blah. Centaur Vanguard's text, for instance, would now just read fanfare, loyalty, gain storm. At least that's what it would look like if these new keywords were implemented and retroactively added to old cards. However, there's much more application to them than just that. Let's say a card has one of these keywords on it without fanfare attached. What then? Well, citizens, if fanfare versions of leadership loyalty effects trigger when there are already commander and officer cards in play, then them being there as constants on these cards without the fanfare effects would naturally have those effects activate whenever a applicable card comes into play, right? So to bring this home, like with Centaur Vanguard, our old friend Fervid Soldier's text could also be updated. Instead of what it has now, it would just read simply, loyalty, gain +1/+0 until the end of turn. On that tangent, you could also go on to attach these keywords to clash, evolve, and last words, which I think are similarly self-explanatory. If a follower is in play of that type, then the effect goes off, just like when the effect is on the fanfare. So okay, that sounds pretty cool, right? Still, you might be thinking I've been talking quite a bit for what ultimately boils down to just cutting down on how much text is on the cards. And you know what? You would be right. Because once we do everything I've just said, we can expand on it all. So to explain what I mean, let's just make up a card really quickly. Let's say it's a 3-cost commander follower with the fanfare effect, leadership. Give all allied officer followers that you played this turn storm. Now that sounds like it could potentially be pretty damn dangerous, right? With this, even without an evolution point available, you could throw out this thing, then throw out Gawain, White Ridge Swordsman, or who knows what else, and have them all charging ahead and getting off their disgusting effects. Now, whether or not the effect I just made up is actually so broken we need to worry about it, but that's besides the point. Here's what I'm getting at. What if fanfare leadership, give all allied officer followers you played this turn storm, instead has one little change to it? That change being, where it says leadership, we put a 2 after it. That would mean, for the effect to go off, you have to have at least 2 officer followers in play. This is, I think, where you could really have some fun with these keywords, as well as where you could really open up Swordcraft as a whole. Because if we're to take Swordcraft as the army class, the class of tokens and soldiers and all of that, then these keywords could be used to reflect that as well. Without a number next to them, these keywords are just simple, have that thing in play effects that we already have plenty of. On the other hand, now that we've streamlined the card text with these keywords, we're able to use that free space and streamlining for all kinds of cool things that we couldn't do before. Effects that might have been too broken before could now work if we make it so that you have to have a certain amount of followers out for them to trigger. Instead of enhance effects, we could get effects like this that require your followers to have the support of their comrades to be able to get their stuff going. These keywords could also be integrated into the traitless Swordcraft spells as well, to really spice things up. With spells not having an allegiance one way or the other, you could have spells with a base effect that get bonus effects based on the state of your board. Not only that, but with the upcoming expansion's new choose effect, you could have cards that have a loyalty or leadership effect on one option, and then a camaraderie effect on another option. And heck, come to think of it, while it's not related to these new keywords I'm suggesting, I wonder if we'll be seeing choose cards that are commander and officer both. Well, that's a topic for another day, and maybe one that'll be settled before this video comes out depending on how fast leaks come. Anyway, citizens, tell me, what do you think of these suggestions for Swordcraft? Do you think these are ideas that could help it out or hinder it? Do you think they would make a lot of older cards irrelevant, or would they be a benefit to them? Do you think the class in general would benefit from this? Do you think it would be fun to play with cards like this? Better yet, if you like these keywords, then give me your card ideas. I'd love to hear what you think. Also, let me know if you'd like for me to talk about Shadowverse more often. I am deep in trying to do a game jam this month, so March is gonna be a bit all over the place on this channel. I'm just kind of dumping videos out there, as you can probably see. But April should be back to business as usual and more chill and stuff, hopefully. Well, you know what I mean. Regardless, in any case, for now, I'm afraid that this is fair.